Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of the Late Bloomer Author podcast. I'm really glad you've joined us today. Now, this session is slightly different because it's talking about Chris and myself as why we wrote our books. And the title of the podcast is 2 Stories, 2 Outcomes, but 1 Starting Point. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk to Chris about what he's doing with his book or why he wrote the last book that he did. And in comparison to why I wrote mine and what happened with mine. So welcome back to Chris. If you remember, he was on episode 2 and episode 6. And the last 3 episodes, we've talked about using AI to create your book, but using it to do all the heavy lifting, all the grafting, not actually your voice, keeping your voice. So today is a little bit different. And what we're doing is we're talking about what happens after you've written the book, or what can happen after you've written the book, or why would you write a book, not just to sell on Amazon. So we're going to start with my retirement book, so the Ultimate Retirement Guidebook. Now, I've said before on podcasts, or I've said before that the reason I wrote that was because I was looking at planning my retirement and what I wanted to do, and the information I wanted wasn't really out there in any other books. I couldn't find what I was looking for. So I thought I'll write my own book and then it'll cover what I think. Obviously, everybody's different, but it'll cover what I think retirement's all about. And it's not just about filling your bucket list or having more family time or free time, or there's a lot more to it. And I actually found the biggest shift was going from Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, always being at work, always being this identity of who you are, to suddenly being thrown into the big wide world of suddenly you're not this person anymore. So the identity shift is one of the scariest things there that I think you can feel. Suddenly finding that you get up in the morning, you do your normal routine, and then you go into this mode of, okay, so now I normally would rush upstairs, get a shower, put my face on, brush my hair and start work. For me, I was working from home, so it's a little bit different. I didn't have a commute. But then you look in your diary or your calendar and suddenly it's empty. And it's like, what do I do now? So this is why I wrote the book, because it covers a lot more than actually day to day and how you should fill your time. It's also about how you feel and explaining how you can sort of get over that feeling of confusion, because it can be exciting, but it can be scary at the same time. So that was why I wrote the guidebook. Now, what I did is I did the guidebook, and when I was looking through it, I realised that I needed something a bit more, and I laugh, and again, Chris will verify this, but we always say that when we're going to die together, because neither of us is going to leave the other one. We're not going now. We're not, we're not planning to go for quite some time. But when we go, we're going to go to...
And not on a podcast.
Not on a no. So we're going to go together. And what I didn't want, or what I was thinking about, was if we suddenly died, it would be an absolute shit show for our girls to sort out everything from the house, the bloody animals, where our life insurance was, what doctors we're at, what insurance we've got. It's just loads of information. So what I did then is I created a second book, and that was the Ultimate Retirement Workbook. Now, the workbook's a bit of everything. It's not only got a section for, your bucket list or what you want to do. For example, if you want to learn to salsa, or if you want to go and help somebody else to learn a task, or anything at all, anything that you want to do, or a legacy, what your legacy you want to leave behind. And a legacy isn't just your will and how much money you're leaving or anything. A legacy is what you want to be remembered for. But it's also got a section for the financial bit. So you can write in there where all your contacts are, all your accounts, your banking information, your insurance information, your mortgages, your doctors, your next of kin. Everything's in there. And it's also got a part that you can print it off and put it in a safe if there's information you don't want to actually leave hanging around in a book. You can put it separately. But what I did is, when I did the guidebook initially, it had some resources in it. So it's got lots of, there's actually some here and show you. There's a retirement survey that you can fill in. You can print these off And there's other things as well, as like a mind map. So there's lots of exercises and resources in the book. And then from that is, as I say, I decided to do the workbook. But it's strange because when I did the retirement book, I never thought for a second that I would feel I wanted to help other people like me, late bloomers like myself, to write a book. So then from the guidebook came the resources, came the workbook. And then I started a YouTube, which is, anybody that knows me being on camera is an absolute no chance at all. And now suddenly I'm on YouTube, I've got a podcast and I'm speaking to camera. And it's just like something's clicked in my brain, because I just hated being on camera. And my business coach used to say to me, Wendy, you're a performing monkey, get over yourself. And I just couldn't get past looking at myself and, I don't like my hair, don't like my eyes, don't like my face, don't like my nose, don't like my lips, don't like how I speak, don't like my voice. And now it's just like, I am what I am, and I just get out there and I just do it. My late bloomer author, I've created an actual brand for this. So it's got the YouTube, it's got the TikTok, it's got the other social channels, and obviously it's got the podcast. And then what I did from there is I created a Skool community, because I'd love people to join the community. People who 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe they're planning retirement, or maybe they're planning writing a book, or they just want to be in a community of people like themselves so that they feel comfortable in that environment and they can ask questions and they don't feel silly, asking things that other people might not fully understand. I did a newsletter as well. I've got a newsletter on LinkedIn that comes out every Sunday, as well as the podcast that comes out every Sunday. So from the one book, from the Ultimate Retirement book, it's just snowballed into something and somewhere that I never dreamt in a million years I'd go. So for me, it's a journey. And that's where your book can take you. It's not just about writing the book and putting it on Amazon and seeing how many sales you get. It can just open so many doors. It can lead you in so many different directions. And that's one of the things I wanted to go across to you. The book is just the starting point. And I'm still discovering where it's going. I don't know where it's going to go next. I'm quite open to trying different things, and I don't know, there's just so many opportunities out there that I didn't think were at all possible. So enough about me and my book, but I just wanted to point out that if you've got a book, for example, and it's to do with your career, so say you're a therapist and you wanted to write about a certain therapy that you do, because your book's not just about getting the book out there, it's helping others, but you don't know where that book's going to lead. Or if you've got a book about, pain relief, if you've got over some sort of pain in your life and you've got this therapy, or you've got this way to get over that you want to share it with somebody else, then that could turn into a book, could then turn into a training program, or sessions on Zoom. You just don't know where it's going to take you. And I think you've got to be a little bit open-minded on that. You've got to be prepared to go with it. And you might find that you end up somewhere that you never thought you'd be, the same as myself, really. And I'm loving it. I didn't realise that if someone had said to me, Wendy, you're going to have a podcast in 6 months' time, you'll be having I didn't even know I did know what a podcast was, but it never entered my head. I wasn't in the least bit interested. And here I am. So if I can do it, you definitely can do it. So that's my sort of little story. Now, leading on to Chris. Chris is, those that have been on the podcast before or listened to the podcast, Chris is my husband, obviously, and he's the Mr. Tech. He's the IT software architect, and he's the one that helped me when I'm like, this isn't working. And what he did is, with his book, he wrote quite a few books. We started together, as we've said, I think it was in episode 2. We did a challenge to write our first book, and we did that, and it was great fun. Again, neither of us even thinking about starting a book, writing a book. And we've both gone on, haven't we, in different directions. You wrote a few books that you did for fun, for part of your hobby about chickens and cats and what have you, and procrastination and things. But then I think it got you thinking along the lines of your career, of what you do as your job, and that's where it went from there. So tell us a little bit then of what your next step was. So having a book again is how your book is perceived from a professional point of view, if you like. What doors it's opened, how you are seen in your industry, what feedback you've had from the writing the book about your particular thing. I mean, it's a very thick book. It's quite a technical book. Let's have a look at the front cover there. What's it called? Okay. AI powered cybersecurity. So, okay. Yeah. So it's a very sort of niche-y book. It's not bedtime reading for sure.
Well, not unless you want to use it to help you go to sleep. I mean, but the book is broken down into different parts for both business and technical people as well. So it was written with a very different view in mind, but it was written with the view that not all things need to be written as a technical side. People from a business point of view need it in their language as well. So the book is broken down into understanding both of those. And that's come from my work career where I deal with both business people and technical people, so I have to change the language depending on who I'm talking to for everyone to be able to understand and move forward. So for me, the book was more about writing one, I think, which is an important topic in the business side at the moment, is everyone talks about AI. Everyone wants to know about using AI. But one of my views was that AI is also being used by the hackers and the bad people to break into our computers. So using AI to protect our computers and our business made a lot of sense. So it's an area of cybersecurity that's beginning to gain quite a lot of momentum. So for me, the book was also to stake a place in the ground and say, not only do I know and understand cybersecurity, but I understand this new area of AI cybersecurity as well. And the book for me was also about giving me, not like in some cases, a book is like giving yourself social credibility. In my part of it, it's not really used from a social credibility part, but it's used for a professional credibility. And that is an important value for people like me as well, because it allows people to see he doesn't just understand it, he's written about it, he's talked about it, he's able to express this experience back into a book that people can use as reference. And there's a lot of diagrams in it. That actually took me the longest thing to do in the book. It's also one of the reasons why I try not to do too many technical books, because I spend most of my time doing diagrams.
Yeah, so there's lots of sort of systems and frameworks in there that help companies with their sort of AI security.
Yeah, and the other thing with the book is also translated into other languages. The book is also translated into audio in other languages as well. So it gives me a greater reach of credibility. So when I'm on LinkedIn and things like that, and people are talking about cybersecurity, then me having a book that's not only out there, it's been a number one seller in its field on Amazon, and it's had a lot of good positive reviews as well. So it's about those reviews have also added to that professional credibility. So it's an interesting thing, and I do believe that people who are in a particular business, it doesn't matter the business, but having a book about what their experiences are in that business, I think goes a long way to sort of...
What are they missing out on? Where could that lead?
I think there are a number of people that we've seen ourselves with books. I mean, one of the property books, for instance, a person wrote about property. The book was then sold. And then later, once he had that market credibility, the book became more of a lead magnet to get people in. But that was to get to their coaching courses. But it was still, the book had an initial one of gaining credibility, and then it became a lead magnet to become additional things. I believe, for instance, if I was looking at a job for someone with cybersecurity, for instance, as an example, and I think someone looking at my CV and with somebody else that's got something similar, and they saw the fact that I have the book and things like this, I think that gives an extra edge, because people are then in a position go, he understands the problem enough to write about it.
Yeah.
And that's got that additional credibility, I believe. And so for me, the writing has continued, not just in like my hobby books and stuff like that, or the novels and things like that I've written, but the IT book is something, I think it's a different market, different lens, if you like. And with also building out my newsletter on LinkedIn called Tech ROI Weekly, I've started to develop a series of books for that as well. So the newsletter, what will be at some point in the future, near future, I'm told, the podcast, but also a series of books that support those ideas. And of course, I've got the vault, which I've got like 90 something resources in, that's on the website. So there's lots of things that it all links together. And the initial writing of the book, I mean, for me to then to think about writing this book and then writing these articles for Tech ROI Weekly and then doing these other resources and all these other things and these supporting books, I never thought that I would do that either. A bit like you with your books. Yours went on one journey and now mine has gone off. I still want to go back to writing fun books.
Yes.
Because
so what are the books you've got planned then for the ROI Weekly then? You said there's a newsletter and you're planning some books. They're not going to be big textbooks like that one, are they?
No. This is almost like 450 pages, this thing. That kind of just got out of hand, shall we just say. The others will be back to what I call the grown-up books of like 30,000 words sort of area, and
are they going to be published, printed, or?
Deal. It's all added value, because it's not just giving knowledge. It's saying, I have this collection of knowledge and it's here to help and support you. So the book has all the books have gone off in a different direction to how I originally planned, because they're now creating this ecosystem of knowledge, if you like. And in essence, that's kind of what I suspect will become my legacy, as you talk about.
Yeah.
Because I think it's about where the reactions I've had on LinkedIn. A lot of people talk about my articles and the fact that they are. I haven't gone down that line of where everybody else has about writing about AI. I've gone down the line saying you need to get your house in order before you can use AI, because people aren't ready. So to me, it's about that AI readiness and the governance and the support and putting the building blocks in place to make those other decisions successful. Like, I think the first book is about the boardroom decisions from a technology point of view to help CTOs and CEOs to make better decisions about their technology.
Yeah, it's funny because they're even when I look on Amazon, or I've seen some books that are being advertised or whatever about AI and AI security, they're all from a sort of, I don't even know if you would say sort of a glamour type thing, making AI sound glamorous and fun.
It's all a lot of it's theory, because a lot of them have never actually done it. And then the other part of it is the fact that they sell the dream of AI and selling it that AI can fix everything. And it's not like you do with late bloomers. AI is a supporting tool to help take the load. And that's just the same as if we were employing other people to do those jobs. And so, which is why I think AI is still a good thing. But many companies cannot use AI because they're not ready to use it. Not yet. And they think that AI will fix all their problems. And it won't. It will bring their problems to light much faster before then they can deal with them. But that's a very long topic.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think the governance or the security and stuff like that part of AI is the unsexy part of AI.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's the part that in your role, you have to look at, because a lot of people you deal with are like, oh, yeah, let's use AI, let's do this. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Open that door and you're just going to,
well,
there's no ending.
I found that people like project managers and things like this, instead of speaking to their technical teams, put questions into AI, got a document. It looks quite nice. It looks, on the face of it, it's answered the problem. But then when you look into detail of it, these people have then not counter-checked that to make sure that it's not only right technically or business-wise, but it's right in what they are trying to portray to their client. And in some cases, it's not. And it can lead to a lot more trouble because they think that AI can answer all their problems, but they're asking the wrong questions. And so AI has answered what it thinks you want.
Yeah.
And
I've said that before, is AI just wants to please. So it won't necessarily give you the correct answer. It'll give you the answer that it thinks that.
And we call that hallucination in some cases. But the problem is people will then submit that work and say, this is our company's position. And that will get them into lots of trouble, because that's the reason why there should be governance and safeguards to stop that from happening. And until people do, AI can be both a gift and a disaster. It's like a sword. It's like a double-edged sword. One side of the sword is good, one side of the sword's bad.
Yeah.
And AI can be used the same way, like anything.
In the wrong hands or used in the wrong way, and it can actually be a bit of a disaster, I suppose. So, so two very different routes that we've gone down. The contrast between your book and where it's led you, or your book writing journey, where it's gone, and my book writing journey, is that we've both got experience in our field that we want to share. We both used AI to get us there much faster. We both self-published. We both started from a blank page. We both started from the challenge, which was just for a little bit of fun, I suppose, really. But I suppose I wrote my book for particular readers, myself included, because I couldn't find what I was looking for. Yours is more professional, for professional credibility. As you've said a couple of times, it's more to show that you actually do know what you're talking about. It's not just all theory.
Yeah. It's supporting that idea of this is an extension of my knowledge in a business capacity. And I think that's why a book is a great media to help others. And if it's translated into other languages and onto audio and other places, then your knowledge has got much further reach straight away.
Just going on to that being translated, I know when my very first book that I wrote, or grown-up book, should I say, was the management book. And I had that translated into Spanish using a translation company, and it cost quite a lot of money. I then had it narrated for Audible. And again, I used a lovely British narrator, and that cost a lot of money. But now it's a lot easier to get your book narrated and translated within, I think Amazon do it. Have Amazon got a whole sort of, it's something looked into, but I know you have used that quite extensively to get your books out there further.
And I found that it's given me a greater reach. And as you did, I also, one of my first books, or one of my early books, was translated and narrated as well. And now Amazon has a better voice thing where it can read your book in different actors and different languages.
Mm-hmm.
And also it can translate your books into quite a really good level of quality, which is quite good. I mean, it still stands that your book should be written well in English first for that to happen.
Yeah.
And the fact that the language translation is very, very good. And it is in an early state on Amazon where they're growing the number of languages, and you submit your book for translation, and it can take anything from 3 to 10 days to be translated. It's not a quick translation.
Is it a beta thing? Is it?
Yeah.
It's not sort of openly available for everybody yet, because I know I haven't tried it. I didn't know if I was allowed to try it, because I could try it with one of my other books that I haven't had translated.
And then it will publish it for you, and you can change the pricing of it and everything else. So it is a good service. So, for instance, some of my books originally, like the book you did with yours, it had in Spanish, one of mine. I now have most of my books in 6 or 7 languages, which is a nice position to be in, because it gives a greater visibility. And I've noticed also, like with my AI book, with that being translated, which took it quite a while because it's, it's not a little book. I've had more people on LinkedIn from other countries connecting.
Yeah.
So I have noticed a distinct correlation with that as well. So I think I think the books give you a different level of connectivity to people.
Absolutely. And yours is very different than mine. Yours is IT people and business leaders, for example. It's very business orientated, whereas mine's late bloomers. It's all about encouraging people, and it's more about a community. So it's a bit of a softer approach, if you like. So yours is built around systems and clients and things, and mine's all about community and relationships,
people and social. So so like your books, if someone looks you up, they can see your books, and that gives a social credibility. Where mine, I have the social credibility for my fun books, but I also have then the business credibility for my business books. Very distinct. So it's a book, I think, starts that first step, that first journey, and you don't know which direction it's going to take you.
No, you don't. No, not at all.
I
mean, as I said before, there's nowhere in a million years that I would have thought about, doing what I'm doing, where I've come from the book. And again, I do get a lot of criticism about, or not criticism as such, but I do get a few comments about the fact that teaching people or helping people to write a book using AI. But I'm absolutely not saying let AI write your book.
No, but it's like a ghostwriter. A ghostwriter's writes your book. And many actors, many famous people do not write their own books. A ghostwriter writes it for them. To me, that's worse than AI, because that isn't that individual's message. That's written by somebody else in someone else's language.
Yeah.
Where AI is more of like that research assistant, that assistant that
if that's how you use it, yeah.
Yeah. we've seen, I mentioned before, we've done reviews of books where we can tell 1,000% that the book is wholly written by AI, and people haven't edited it. They've just published it because they thought this was a quick get rich quick.
Yeah.
And it floods the market with pure rubbish.
Yeah, it does. It's funny you should say that, because on one of the business WhatsApp groups I'm in, we have Friday where you can promote whatever it is. And someone on there was promoting a platform where, I don't know, in 5 hours or something ridiculous, you could write a book using AI. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's the absolute last thing that people need to be jumping on, because it's just, I just think, crap in and crap out. And that's unfortunately what you're going to get. And it's not fair on the reader if AI's written that book.
And writing a book with AI doesn't have the same detail or the context or that same awareness, and emotion or awareness, or if you like, soul that you put into a book. AI is very flat and very unemotional. It tries and it can create a lot of things, but it still needs that human bit in. And even with my book, with this, one of the big bits, even in cybersecurity, is the human in the loop bit. So it's not give everything to AI, even for this. You still need that human element. And I believe the same goes for writing a book. You still have to have that human soul, that human essence in a book. I mean, we've reviewed books and admittedly have given them a very low rating when they've made clearly no effort. They've just used it as what they believe is a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah, you're not going to get rich from writing a book. Well, very rarely anyway. And like you say, I think the writing of the book then leads on to other things. So thinking practically then, anybody that is thinking of writing a book, I just want to go through some suggestions of where writing a book can take you. So first off is, if you're an expert in your field, it can absolutely reach more people and get your name out there, and again, either professional or social credibility. And
it's the credibility more than anything. And if you either, like that property person did, use it as a means to give that professional credibility first, and then use it as a lead magnet later, you know, because it adds value and it gives a different level of credibility down the line. It's reusable.
It's funny you're saying about a lead magnet, because one of the other books that I wrote, the relationship code, I created the app, and it's a dating app. It's not a dating app. It's not finding dates. It's suggestions for people going on dates, and again it's aimed at everyone from, oldies like us, of what you can do on your date. And on that app, I'm giving away the copy of the relationship code book for free. That's also got resources that people can go through, and couples can work together and help them with the relationship. And again, I'm not a therapist, so that book wasn't written for me as an expert in the field of relationships. And it very clearly says that is me writing that book is as a 64-year-old with lots of experience of life and being in or watching relationships.
And that's the problem. Sometimes people are using AI to diagnose themselves and diagnose an emotional state. And it's really important that AI, that's not what AI is for.
No.
Because AI doesn't understand, and it comes back to it the other side again, the context, your journey, your knowledge, why you are there. So how do you expect AI to then make a diagnosis without all that facts, not having those facts available to it?
Yeah.
So it can't. It will guess again, and people make assumptions. And the same goes that's the reason why you can't let AI write a book about self-help, because it doesn't know your situation.
Yeah. I think what I might do on a future podcast is have a bit of a deep dive into the relationship code and the resources that it comes from and the app that I created.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's a story for another day. Just coming back to, the reason you would write a book, just to leave you with something to think about from this episode is, as I said, establishing yourself as an expert in your field is a great idea for a book. It can also open professional doors. So if you want to look at maybe doing speaking events or consulting or talking with clients, then it can definitely do that. It builds trust as well with audiences before you meet them. If they know you've got a book, it can be a little bit of an icebreaker, if you like, sort of an intro.
Another one would be the fact you've written a book about your topic and about the way you do business, for instance. And instead of cold calling with the sort of rape and pillage of a LinkedIn email, you send them a copy of your book.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've got a book out there, you've got a book with them, you've got that business or social credibility straight away.
Yeah.
And the chances are, if you put that covering letter, if you've enjoyed this book, book an appointment.
Yeah, absolutely. So building trust with an audience is a good way. And as you said before, a lead magnet, it's something that you can either give away the whole book as an online reader book. I know that you created a flip reader for our books that people can read the books online without having to download it or without the risk of the PDF being downloaded and stolen, etc. So either giving us a free resource or toolkits. As I say, there's lots of resources in my books with toolkits and resources that people can download and use. And the other thing is things like, me creating the workbook. That was a next step from the guidebook. So it's sort of a spin-off almost, not quite a spin-off book, but it could, or me doing a course, where when I did the relationship code and then the communication code, and then I was going to do a third book that was the self-publishing using AI, and that's when I decided to do training instead of write another book. And that's something that was a step that I wasn't expecting. That's just how it happened. It can generate passive income. I mean, as I say, you're not genuinely, unless you get a really, really good book and you do lots of advertising on Amazon to get a bestseller, to get a book read, because it's very difficult to get sales. There's so much competition on Amazon. Unfortunately, a lot of AI written stuff as well. Leaving a legacy, as I mentioned before. I mean, our kids don't even know what books we've written, and I suppose when we've gone, they'll look through and say, "Oh, I didn't know she'd written that. I didn't know he'd written that." So, leaving a legacy, leaving your story, your knowledge, particularly people who want to write their memoirs. It's a fabulous thing to leave your children and your grandchildren. You don't even have to write your whole life story, just one episode of it, one chapter, one really interesting, something that they didn't know, and they can, wow, I didn't know that. That was really interesting. And, that's a good way to do, I think, with a book, is to do your memoir. And it also builds your self-confidence as well. I think for me, being able to say I've published books, even though I'm not some great author, I'm not selling thousands of copies a week or a month or anything like that, but it does boost your self-confidence. It does make you feel as if you've done a little bit more than,
I think with writing the books, that allowed me to then write these articles. But I've also found that I've been writing a lot more documents for work and projects and things like this, where I would have I would have shunned away from more of that and done the talk, but not written things down in the same way. And now I produce big documents, business documents, and they're quite sizable ones as well. And I found that has come from writing.
Yeah. And for me, as I said, doing the books and then, looking at retirement, in general, doing the YouTube for the late bloomer author and the late bloomer living. Again, trying to help people to get over the shock of becoming retired and all of that it entails, and starting a community, school community, something I never thought I would have done before I started writing books. So you just don't know where it's going to...
Where you're going to go?
No, you don't. And, we both started in the same place. As I said before, we started with the 7-day challenge on the sofa, sat beside, writing our books, a little bit of competition going on. But wow, how different our journeys have been since then. We're going totally different directions. You know, with your professional, as well as, you've written quite a few books for fun, but it's been a professional journey for you. For me, it's been more of a community journey.
I think for me, it also helped refocus my business journey and give added value. Not that I didn't think I was adding value. I think this gives a more broad scope of value. And I think it gives that additional credibility. And I think that's what writing for me has achieved in the business side. But I really would like to get back to writing more fun books and not just writing technical ones.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I wrote a couple of novels and they were like part ones and things like this. And I keep thinking I should really go back and finish that part 2. And I've got like an illustrated book that I wrote quite a lot to. And I thought I've got maybe 2 illustrations to go into it. And then that book is also finished. And it's like, sometimes I just want to go back and finish some of the books that I put there, and 99% of them are already edited and proofread.
Yeah, and just got to finish off and get them done.
Yeah, well, I've got the covers done and everything else. I just want that opportunity to get back to that, and I think there is a real sense of achievement when you write something and you publish it.
Definitely.
And I think that is something that you go, I did that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think
it's down to the starting point, isn't it? It is, you've got to start, get that blank page, make the decision to do it. One of the ways, or, what I suggest is getting into the Skool community, the late bloomer author. It's a free Skool community. It's got the Bloom system in there, which is a 5-video training on how to get started writing your book. And that's all you need just to get started. And that's what it is, is you've got to start. So why not start today?
Exactly.
Because you just don't know where it's going to take you.
No, the journey is as fascinating as everything else, because again, we wouldn't have known when we started this that any of this was possible. We didn't know all the ins and outs of it.
No.
And that's been fun, because that's something else that we have learned, and we have learned together.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's something quite special.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, we've both enjoyed it, haven't we? So in the, just going back to the episode 6, 7, 8. It's a 3-part mini-series where I'm giving information about writing your book, prompts that you can give to ChatGPT, all about, making that start. So if you want to go and watch those, the prompts are actually in the podcast as well, and the podcasts are on the Skool community, so you can watch them again and again and keep practicing and practicing. But the Bloom system's in there. There's other training in there as well, and it's all for free. And if I can help at all, I'm in there all the time. Just tag me and leave me a little message or a comment, ask me a question. I'm more than happy to help. So in the meantime, thank you, Chris, for your input, for your insights again, and just to show people really that you just don't know where your book's going to go, and you just have to go with it really, and
just get it started.
Yeah, be open to where it leads, because you just don't know.
No, the book is just the tip of the iceberg. to that next step in
Yeah.
wherever it takes you.
Wherever it goes. Okay. Well, thank
Right.
you. And I'm
Okay.
sure I'll speak to you soon. And I do believe you're going to start a podcast of your own soon. Okay, then. So thank you
right.
very much. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.